Hi everyone, welcome to the Learning Ladder and welcome to mid-year review time. I can't believe it. It's just crazy to think it's already that time. I don't know when you'll actually see this though. It will probably be past mid-year by the time you actually see this because I'm behind on uploading videos because I've been doing all my work getting all the new things published on Amazon, the homeschooling things, but hopefully you'll get to see this at some point once I can actually have time to edit it. So let's just get started. So we'll talk about language arts first, and I'm going to give an overview. I'm not going to go into depth for each subject because what I want to do is not for everything we've used this year, but for certain key ones I want to make them their own video so I can actually show you all the different resources that we've really liked. This is just kind of an overview of my opinion at the time of how it's gone up to this point. So for language arts, we've been using Beowulf Language Arts. It is a fantastic curriculum. We've really enjoyed it so far. I don't expect that to change. It's made up of a lot of different components. So there's writing elements to it, there's grammar elements to it, there's different books. There's so many different things that she's kind of pieced together in like a buffet of activities. It has a schedule with it where you can follow it to the letter if you want to, or you can make it your own and mix and match. And that's kind of what I tend to do is mix and match the schedule to work for us. So say for example she's scheduled this writing book to do that day. If I don't want to do it that day, we'll do it another day. I love the flexibility that she gives you. It's kind of like a weekly menu, but then you can obviously adapt to suit you. Really good. She's picked so many fantastic books that we've really enjoyed to go along with the curriculum. So that's sort of our main, I guess, our core language arts. Then I'm just looking up on the book stuff, write everything down so I don't forget. I also included Handwriting Without Tears. We've been using Handwriting Without Tears since the beginning, so since forever ago. We are on the cursive book this year, and it's been going well. Handwriting Without Tears is just something that you just do, and it's I don't know, like a trusty curriculum if you like. We've always used it, we've never had any problems with it. I don't see us changing at any point until obviously we're done with handwriting, but you never say never. But so far we've really enjoyed it. This book has been no different. It's more cursive in terms of it's writing sentences in cursive as well, not just like letter formation. So it's more advanced than it was last year, but we've been doing really well. That she's really been enjoying it and picking up all those cursive skills. Her cursive is probably better than mine now, which is funny. But I do have, and I did buy a cursive book to practice mine because I've gotten out of the habit of doing cursive since I had my daughter, because she couldn't, obviously when she was younger, read it if I wrote in cursive. So I'm so used to writing in print now, it's really hard to go back and remember how to write in cursive properly. So I do have a cursive book, so I want to, not a kid's one obviously, an adult one. I want to practice mine too. And I keep saying that I'm going to do it when she's doing hers, but it's like you always get distracted doing something else. But I really want to make the effort for the rest of the year to actually, when she's doing her cursive, to do mine, because I think that would be really fun. So yes, Handwriting Without Tears, great, no problems with it. It's an old trusty. We've also been using, still using Explode the Code as part of our spelling. We've used that again from the beginning. It's just something that I bring out and she can do independently by herself, but I just like the extra practice that it gives with the spelling, and she enjoys it. So she thinks it's funny. They have certain questions and they're really funny. So we've always carried on with that, and again we'll probably do that until we finish the last book. Because it's just something fun, and I think it does reinforce spelling really well. So we love Explode the Code. We also use a new spelling curriculum this year. It's called Phonetic Zoo from IAW. I didn't buy the full package with the actual recordings of the words. I just bought the cards. I'm still debating whether or not that was a good idea, because the idea of it is that it's supposed to enable them to do spelling more independently because of the fact that they can listen to the words and everything else, whereas I don't have that option, so I'm still doing it teacher-led, which is absolutely fine. But I kind of think it defeats the object of the program the way it's made. Do I want to continue with it next year? I don't know. I haven't completely decided. I do have the cards for the next several levels because it came in like a pack, so I could quite easily do that, or I could always go back to something else or try something different and then revisit the cards at a different time. But it does work. What I found though is she knew a lot of the earlier words, so we kind of like whizzed through certain sections to it, and now, you know, we're just more steady now. But I don't know, I don't know whether it's my favourite, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but I'm not sure if I want to use it again next year. I'm still deciding. I want to wait till we finished before I completely make my final decision as to whether or not to use it again next year. But there's nothing wrong with it at all. It absolutely works just great, and it's really fun. They have like the board with all the animals, and it's really good. I do really like it. We've been doing Copywork, so we have the modern classics Copywork, and I'll just you know, different days, if our language arts hasn't taken used all the allocated time, whatever, I'll just bring it out and say, okay, let's read this story and copy some things from it. We also do Copywork as part of our reading notebook, which I'll talk to you about in a second. And you know, Copywork's Copywork. I do think it has great value, especially with spelling. And it took me a while to get my head around Copywork, because when I used to watch my daughter do it, it never seemed to really you know, it just seemed like she was just writing and not really thinking about what she was writing. It kind of seemed to defeat the object. But I think now she's a little bit older, I can actually see the benefits of it much more than I used to be able to, because, you know, to me it was like busy work initially. It really took me a while to get my head around that it actually was quite beneficial. And I think that was just because she was younger then, because at the time it just seemed like she was just, you know, not even really paying attention, just mind-numbingly copying. But now I do think it does have value, but I think it really is age dependent to how you see the value to it, if that makes any sense. The other things that we do are sort of ad hoc. So she has a comic book templates, which she absolutely loves. She loves that thing so much. She's finished 2 comic books this year, and she's now doing the one that I made for her that's on Amazon. She loves writing stories in there, drawing pictures. She's really into storytelling and art. Those are like her favourite things. So she loves doing that. And obviously it's language arts practice as well. You've got your handwriting practice with drawing. You've got your speech bubbles where she's writing different dialogue and everything else. And she doesn't even realise she's actually, you know, learning. She just thinks it's fun. But I definitely love those comic book templates, and it's great to look back on. We've got so many now that we can flip back and look at all the different stories, and she comes up with the most amazing imaginative stories ever. She's really, really good like that in telling stories. It's just definitely one of her talents. The next thing we do is journaling. So we have just random journaling where she will make notes in. We've got our history book and our science book, so she'll make notes in there. Also, we have some of the thinking tree journals. We really like those. We're also using Journal Through Time with history, and obviously a lot of that is language arts too, so it's cross-curricular, so journaling is classed as part of our language arts. We also got Harcourt trophies book last year. We got it the previous year as well, and I found that I tended to use it more the previous year than I did this year in terms of the stories in it, and I think that's just because she's got older and she likes to pick her own things to read. We haven't really enjoyed the stories this year at all that were in the Harcourt trophies. There's been a handful of stories in there that she's really liked. She's at the age now where she wants to pick her own books, and she wants to read what she likes to read. So I'm definitely in, you know, future years, like next curriculum year, more inclined to obviously give her a choice from a list of things to pick. I've looked at them and make sure they're all, you know, worthwhile reading. You know, she's not just trash or whatever, but I'll let her decide what she wants to read. I'm not going to get some kind of like a Harcourt trophies or book or anything like that for next year. But, you know, there was nothing wrong with it. We've used it in the past, and it was absolutely fine. I think once I finished All About Reading, I just wanted something extra, you know, just to get more reading practice in, because we were so used to having the readers that went along with All About Reading. You knew that they were really good stories. It, you know, really pushed them and challenged them and everything else. And I just wanted something more to carry on with that sort of scenario. But, you know, now we don't really need that. She's, you know, reading fluently. She can read pretty much anything she wants to. So I don't really need that, you know, that, I guess, safety blanket of a reading program. You know, I just rather she reads for enjoyment as well as obviously to gain knowledge. And then the other thing that we do to tie into that is we have our reading notebook, and basically she has her language arts book, which we use for different things, and in there she will write what she's learned in the book. She'll also draw the cover of the book she's reading. If there's anything in there that's particularly interested her, we'll dive a bit deeper into that. She'll do some copy work, or she'll write some sentences, and then she'll rate the book. I have actually made a book that is currently being published on Amazon very soon, if not already. By the time you see this, I may or may not, I don't know, just depends. They take ages to review stuff, where it kind of is more formal. So the book is actually laid out where they have 16 books that they can use to do this activity. We've just been doing it in a notebook, but I wanted something more, I guess, professional looking, if you like, in terms of there's a book with tons of templates in there. There's different ways that they can take notes from books that they've read. There's different ways to expand on that, so different activities in the book for them to show their knowledge of what they've read. And there's glossaries in there, there's vocabulary sheets in there, there's story writing bits, there's blank templates for them to take notes and to expand on things that they've learned. There's lots of different templates in there, so that I'll show you that in an upcoming video, but that's one of the things that we'll definitely be using next year. But for this year, we've just been using a notebook, and she's been keeping track of her reading that way. So that's everything for language arts. If I've forgotten anything, I apologize, but those are the main things that really stood out to me. Okay, so let's move on to maths. Okay, so for maths, we started out using The Good and the Beautiful. We got halfway through and I decided to go back to Saxon, which is what we've always used. I explained in a video in my homeschool update why. There were two reasons really. The main one was because I'd watched a video where they were explaining, about the future of their language arts and math programs, and I didn't get the impression that they were going to go all the way to high school with it. They didn't say they weren't for sure, but they said that they were guaranteed to go up to grade 8, and they weren't saying anything more at that time. And I didn't like that, to be honest. I wanted a curriculum that would go to the end. I didn't want to have to be thinking in high school we have to find another math curriculum. Yes, we might want to, but I didn't want to have to be forced into that choice if obviously the curriculum didn't go that far. And they're not the only company that cuts off at the point that they provide maths. I think Master Books do too. They have a cut-off. I don't think in that particular series anyway. I think they do have more, they do have high school programs that are different, but I'm talking about the math lessons for a living education. I don't think that goes up to high school. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have to switch to a different program. So they're not the only curriculum company that do this, but I just liked the fact that with Saxon it goes all the way to the end. The books are already published, and if we're happy with it, we can carry on to the end. So that was the main reason, and I didn't realize that when I actually started the curriculum that was going to be the case. The other thing was we noticed, more so than when we were using Saxon, that the lessons were a lot longer. It wasn't a problem in terms of we managed to get everything we needed to get done and everything else, but it wasn't something that was my daughter's favourite in terms of the time that it took to get everything completed. And the way the curriculum was laid out, you had to really go from beginning to end. There wasn't really a way to kind of, we'll skip this, skip that, because it just wouldn't work. It was a lovely curriculum, and it really is, and I do like it. There's just a heck of a lot in it, which adds to it. It makes it good and beautiful and everything else, but that just adds to the time it takes to do it. And it just wasn't something that we wanted to spend that much time in. We wanted to get what we needed to get out of it done, and then we can move on to other things that she wanted to do. That's kind of where we're at with maths. Basically, we want a curriculum which gives us everything we need in a direct way. We're done, and we can move on to something that she really wants to explore further. And it just took a lot of time to actually complete the lessons from start to finish. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with it at all, and I do really, really like the curriculum. I just wish it didn't quite take as long, but that's not the main reason we switched. The main reason we switched was because of what I said about them not saying that they were going to go all the way to high school with that particular program. They might suddenly say, actually, no, we are, you're completely wrong, and maybe we'll revisit it then if I know for sure that would be the case. But for right now, I'm happy going back to Saxon. She's absolutely fine going back to Saxon. She actually said she preferred it to The Good and the Beautiful now that she's been doing it again, and she's had the difference between the two. She likes the fact that it's very direct. It's straight to the point. Here's your question, get it done, move on to the next one. She likes that, and I think because we've always used Saxon before, it was a bit of, oh, let's see what else is out there scenario, which was another reason to switch, because it seemed like a good time, because when we finished Saxon 3 and moved on to Saxon 5.4, I explained the format changed completely, so it seemed like a good time to try something different if we were going to. So I don't regret trying anything different, and I do think she's learned an awful lot from The Good and Beautiful, don't get me wrong. I do think the curriculum is really, really solid. I can see that as we're going back into Saxon. I chose to just start from the beginning, you know, rather than just skip around, and it just seemed, you know, silly to do that. So we just started from the beginning. I can definitely see, because we're whizzing through it, that The Good and the Beautiful was really, really solid. But it's what works for us, and she wants the get to it maths. She doesn't need all the frills. So we switched and we're happy with Saxon, but as I said, nothing wrong with Good and Beautiful, and I do really like it. The other things we do for maths is musical multiplication from the Good and Beautiful, and we really like that. I also do a copywork with her with the multiplication, and you know, she'll write out her multiplication tables. She'll do one every day just to keep practicing, and so we don't lose track. I think it's important to keep practicing them. It's something that is easily forgotten if you're not using them all the time. So I definitely like that element to it. She doesn't mind at all doing that. So that's another thing we do. And then we have math games and everything else that we can do. Everything for maths. Okay, so moving on to science. So for science, my daughter wanted to do Magic School Bus Science. We'd always done a maths curriculum, so I thought this was the year to try something different, like we did with maths. And she wanted to do Magic School Bus Science, so I made Dining on Science for that reason. It has been so fun. I really, really, really have enjoyed doing Dining on Science with her. It's sort of laid out in a buffet scenario, so you've got like your books that go along with it, which we love. I love that element. I love the fact that there's YouTube videos to go along with each different episode, and then it's sort of like a main course, starter, main course, and a dessert format, and a buffet at the bottom with all different activities that you can do that are cross curricular, and it's been so fun. I definitely think that I could have used it to replace certain things because of all the different activities that went into it. There was really a lot that you could do with it and really stretch it if you wanted to. But we just mainly used it for science, and I just, you know, picked the fun things that we like to do. It's been, as I said, amazing. We love the Magic School Bus. The only big drawback was they took it off Netflix, and that was an absolute pain because now I have to get the DVDs out, and you know, it's fine and everything, but it was so much more convenient to just stick Netflix on and watch the episode, and I have to drag the DVD box downstairs, and you know, oh poor me. You know, it's a really hard thing to do, but you know, it's just so much more convenient just having it on there. So that's the only drawback, and I didn't know when I was making it that they were going to take it off Netflix. But that aside, putting the lazy Isabella aside in terms of the DVD box, it's been so fun. Really, really love it. What I particularly love as well is the fact that I can pick topics to go along with other things that we're learning. So different times of the year. So like when it was Halloween, we picked lots of the because they had various different episodes that were more Halloween orientated. When it's like spring now, we can pick lots of gardening and plants and all those kind of things. And I love that I can do like a theme with it. You can just do it in order if you want to in terms of the episode order, but I have been picking like different themes. Okay, we'll do this theme now. So for example, we've just been doing our nature study theme, so we did photosynthesis, we did planting seeds and all that kind of thing, and shortly we're going to be doing marine biology, and I'll pick sort of the ocean ones. So I really, really like that flexibility, if you like, and I love all the different activities that go along with it. There's art in there, there's language arts, there's so many different things. So love Dining on Science. It's been so fun. I added The Good and the Beautiful. We did the human body, which was really enjoyable. Mammals is still my favourite from them, but it's been absolutely fine. It was, you know, it gave us everything we needed. We are just about to do, as I mentioned, the marine biology unit from them as well. That will sort of tie us off for the year. And then we've also been doing some physics, energy and things like that from the Evermore Skills Sharpener science book. So I particularly focused on those topics in there, so we get the physics in this year as well. For next year, I still haven't decided which way I want to go. So there's two ideas I'm mulling over. One is like a curriculum and one is more unit study, and I haven't decided which way I want to go yet, but there's plenty of time. You know, it's only, you know, we're not there yet in terms of buying curriculum time, but either will work just fine. And we have used both of the programs, so it's not sort of a new thing, it's just going back to something we've used before. Just there's two different styles because it's two different companies, but it's two different styles of science that I'm debating for next year, and I'll obviously share with you in my curriculum video what we decide to go with. So that's everything for science. For history, we've been doing journey through time, and it's been so amazing. We really loved it. I love the fact so much that I incorporated all the different interactive elements like the videos that go along with the lessons. It just makes it come to life so much more. The websites where you can look at archaeological digs and tools and things, it just brings it so much to life. I really like that aspect of, you know, how I designed Journey Through Time. I did it all as a download initially, and then I decided to publish on Amazon, so it's now in a book form, which is fantastic. The only slight problem for us is we'd already done 2 of the units in our notebook, so 2 of the units in our book are going to be blank, but you know, that's fine, we can always go back and fill those out. But we've started, because by the time I got it, we'd already done 2 of the units. But now that I've actually got the physical book, we're going to transfer all the rest of the year into that book, and it will actually carry over into next year as well, because of the way I designed it. There was 10 units, and there's no way you could do that in 1 year anyway. So what I've decided to do is do the ancient and you know, the prehistory this year, and then next year we'll pick up from the rest of the time. So this year we'll have done stone, bronze and iron age, we'll have done Egypt, we'll have done ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and then we'll pick up where we left off for the new school year, and we'll carry on using Journey Through Time because we just really enjoy it. I did add the Evermore pockets in for certain things. So for example, Egypt, Rome and Greece, I have Evermore pockets, and that they just go into our notebook, and that was before I actually turned Journey Through Time into Journal Through Time, which is the book. So now we can obviously do all our notebooking in the actual book, so that's going to be so fun. But I really do love Journey Through Time. She loves it, and Journal Through Time, she loves it. It's just been so fantastic, and like I say, I love the elements of the videos and everything else. Now in Journal Through Time, it's only books that I've listed in there, because obviously I can't put video links for you to click on if it's a physical book. But you know, scour YouTube. That's all I did anyway when I was producing the curriculum. I just scoured YouTube and looked for videos that would go well with each topic, and there are tons on there, absolutely tons. So you know, that's always an option for you. I just decided when I was actually making the journal to just list all the book recommendations, but there's so many different books that you can use to do the same thing. But yes, we really do love Journey Through Time and Journal Through Time. On to geography. For geography this year, it's kind of been like a mishmash of different things. So we did primary geography, which we're still using. It's a curriculum from Collins that we've used for the last 2 years, I think. Absolutely fine. It's very much, it's case study based, so basically you go through different topics and they produce like a case study, and there's data in there for you to look at, and tables and maps and everything else. So it's really interesting. I really do like it, and we'll definitely, more likely than not, continue on with that. I also use the skill sharpener geography, and in the past I've tended to use that topic based, so I'll just bring it out and we'll do a topic in there, and you know, do the relevant sheets that were in there to correspond with what we've been doing. This year we've mostly just gone through it in order, to be honest, and again, it's absolutely fine. I don't know if I want to get it again next year or not. I think we've reached the point now where I'm trying to cut out things that I don't feel like we use from beginning to end, that we just, you know, pick different parts out of, because it's just one less thing to have, you know, one less thing that we need. But you know, we have really enjoyed it. If I didn't get primary geography and I decided actually I'm not going to do that, then I would just do skill sharpener, but I don't think I need them both. So this year, when it comes to new curriculum, I'll evict one of them. I don't know which one. Probably skills sharpener and keep primary, but I don't know. I want to go through skill sharpener topics, which I haven't done yet, and see what they've got for next year and compare it to the primary geography topics. But yes, so that's geography. And then we also do a unit study, and we've been doing the Gather Around Africa, and we've been really slowly, to be honest, getting off with that, but you know, we picked up now and have really been enjoying it. She has 2. It's one of their, I think it's like one of their first year curriculum units or their second, I'm not sure. So the format is the old style, whereas I'm used to the new style, and I did notice the difference, but not in it wasn't in a negative way. You know, it was really fun. It's been really fine. But we did, and this is the thing when you're doing like a unit study based curriculum, you always have your favorites. Like we did bugs, and we love the bugs so much, and it's hard not to compare, because that's what we do. We don't, when we're humans, we compare stuff. So it's hard not to say, well, you know, we like bugs more than Africa and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's been doing everything it needs to. I got a bunch of books from the library so that we've really enjoyed to go along with it. And, you know, it's been absolutely fine. And we're still really enjoying learning about Africa. And we have not at all finished. We've still got quite a few weeks to go with that. But, you know, we've still got halfway through the year to go. So I'm not worried about that. Well, I'm sure we'll get it done before the end of the year. It's been geography. Let me think, what else? French, I mentioned in a homeschool update that I did not like the curriculum that we picked this year for French. It was click on this and find this, and there's so many different bits to it, and normally that doesn't bother me, but I don't know why it just, with this French curriculum, it just didn't seem to flow at all. So I'm definitely on the lookout for another French curriculum for next year. Definitely let me know if you've got any recommendations for French that you love, or any kind of language program that you've loved, and obviously I can check. We do want to continue with French, but you know, obviously I'm looking at different options for curriculum, so let me know if you've got anything that you've seen, particularly if, and this is what I really want, native speakers in it. So rather than me having to scour the internet, which is not a problem, but it'd be a lot easier if it was already in the curriculum, looking for French speaking videos where it's an actual native speaker. I do think it makes a difference, I really do. Me trying to pronounce the the French words, it always makes me laugh. And I think of those comedy programs where they're butchering languages. I try though, I really do try, but I didn't learn French. I learned Spanish in school. We actually started with Spanish, but we switched to French because we hoped at some point that we'd be able to move abroad, and we were looking at America, we were looking at Canada, and French is crucial to move to Canada. So that was one of the reasons why we went with French, and my daughter liked France and liked, you know, the Eiffel Tower and everything else, and you know, it was a really, you know, educated decision why we picked French as our language, obviously. But it's been so fun. I don't regret it, and it's nice for me to learn something different too along with her. But yes, please, if you've got any French recommendations, let me know. I'm sure I'll find something really good. If not, I'm just actually going to go back to what we used the previous year, because I found that much better. It flowed so much better, and it doesn't really matter when you're learning a language, because this curriculum, it just kind of goes from one thing to the other, and there's no kind of plan to it. It's just, okay, well, we're going to learn about this thing, and then it just doesn't, I don't know, when you're learning languages, it needs to flow, there needs to be a process, and I didn't like that. They use this curriculum in schools, the one well, apparently they do, I don't know for sure, but that's what it advertised itself as. So maybe it's because it's not used the way it's meant to be used, I don't know, but no, it wasn't for me. It wasn't at all, and I much prefer as in teaching it, I much prefer the old one. And if I can't find any one, then I'm more than happy to go back to that one. But please let me know if you've got anything else for French. And then that's all our main subjects. I'm just looking. Oh, IT. We've been using handwriting without tears, keyboarding without tears. We've used that before. We just do that ad hoc. So, you know, I'll say, okay, let's do a lesson in that. I really want to get more of that done before we finish the year, so I haven't sort of wasted money. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just, I don't know, it's just, because it's online, it's just kind of like a game as opposed to a lesson, if you like, in IT. But you know, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's absolutely fine, and you know, we will crack on with it a bit more. But we've also been doing IT so cross-curricularly with other things. We like looking for images on the internet. That's really fun. She loves doing that, looking for pictures and things that she likes, and you know, we make little documents with them. She obviously has been practicing her typing, writing different things on there too, so that's classed as IT. But next year, I did have plans this year for us to build a website. We haven't done that yet, and actually I'm going to push it till next year. I just think she needs that little bit longer. It's a bit more of an advanced skill, and I just think that that's something that we can do next year after sort of scenario, and we can carry on doing the basics of, you know, the normal programs that you use most often, because I think that's more useful right now, and we can come back to web development and things like that in the future. But you know, that's something that I'm really looking forward to doing with her, because I think that it's such a fantastic skill to have. The IT skills, you know, it's really important nowadays, at least because it goes with so many different jobs. But she's a whiz on the computer, an absolute whiz. She puts me to shame from when I was her age. I think I would be like this. And I see her on a tablet and she's like going all over the place. And I watch her, she has this game that she loves on a tablet, and I'm watching her do it and I'm just like amazed. She knows all about it. She knows where all the things are and everything else, and I'm just, whoa. I could not have done that when I was your age. Kids are just so much more literate, computer literate than we were back then. It's just amazing to see her. But you know, they've been brought up with it. It's the norm. You give her any kind of device and she instantly knows how to do it, even though I've not even shown her. It's just like it's bred into them. They're born that way to know how to use technology, which is funny. But yeah, so IT has been absolutely fine. We've been using it a lot more sort of cross-curricular than any kind of program. I've been doing my bits here and there, but like I say, I'm going to postpone doing the web development until next year probably. Maybe even the year after, we'll see. I just want her to get some more basics in of different things before we go to that stage. But yes, IT's been going well. Let me just look at our chart. I think that's everything. We did our unit study on a Friday. So basically on a Friday currently, unless we've gone on a field trip, which obviously then changes things, we don't do curriculum on a Friday, we do unit study. But we've been doing our unit study. We've been doing our veterinary unit study, which was so good. We did campfire curriculum, veterinary unit, and that was so fun. It was a story-based curriculum with lots of different activities mingled into it. We really enjoyed that. We have our whole rack still, I've not even put it away yet because we still really like it, of books that we use to go along with our veterinary unit. I'll link the video below to our cart showing the books that we picked to go along with that. That went so well. It was so fun to do that. And then we've gone on to sort of a nature study unit. We've been doing the Julia Rothman book, so we've been doing a mixture of nature and farm anatomy from her. I also got the corresponding journals that weren't from her but were from a different company that go along with that, and really nicely we've been doing those. I also got Gather Round Homeschool Living Off the Land, because we're really into that sort of lifestyle. It's growing your own food and everything else, and we've only been doing that for a couple of weeks, but we've been really enjoying that curriculum too. And we've been doing sort of more practical things as well, so planting our own garden again this year, preparing, you know, sort of for spring and that type of thing. So that's everything I can think of, apart from we've done quite a few field trips. We went to our farm class, we've been to different homeschool groups throughout the year. We did to different museums, we've been on different days out, we've been to different homeschool groups. So yeah, we've had a really productive year so far, I'd say. And you know, we were only just slightly over halfway through, and we still got half of the year left. It just always flies by, that's the only thing. And I'm definitely sort of in new curriculum mode now, sort of thinking, okay, what do I want to do, how do I want the year to look? So let me know if you want me to make any videos about sort of that process, and I'll be more than happy to, sort of where I'm at and what I'm thinking of and that type of thing. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'm definitely going to do some reviews for each of the, not all of them, but certain standout curriculums. Not necessarily stand out in that they were particularly amazing, but stand out in terms of the most used. So it'll give you a good idea if you are curriculum shopping now or at any point soon. And we'll see you in our next video. Take care. Bye for now.